Hey, hi, hey. Hello. How's
There
it
we
going?
go. Yeah,
this
you
is
got
a
all thrown
live.
away.
I got all flustered and thrown off, but you know what? I think it's just because I saw a little crazy on the monitor there.
Yeah, me
but at any
too.
rate, guys, hello. Welcome to hopefully the first of many live
We
podcasts.
are live on
Yeah.
this Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. You guys got the Master of Shine and the
That's
great
right.
Dane himself hanging out in the studio. So you guys are probably wondering, obviously you heard Morgan's gone. We're very sad. We wish her well.
Yep.
Feels strange without her this week, even though we only had her for like 3 days last week.
If you
It's
need
quiet.
context,
Yeah.
go watch last week's Q&A.
Yep.
It was a very heartfelt send-off.
Yeah, and
yeah.
make sure you guys keep up with her on Instagram and
She's
follow her
not
there. And she's
going
not
anywhere
going to be
there.
going away, but
I saw her yesterday, actually, when I was
You
leaving
saw her?
here. Yes.
in the wild.
I was leaving here, and she drove up to the building, and she was looking at, like, the loading docks. Like, she wanted to take some
memories.
pictures of her car and
and
stuff,
she was
but I
thinking of
think she was
memories.
reminiscing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was thinking when
So-
she had to unload boxes of towels.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
you know, so caught her
Yeah.
there, said hi, said bye, but don't worry, guys, she's doing good.
And if you're wondering where Anthony is, he's camping. This week. So
He's
his-
still at TRC, don't worry.
Yeah. So his family had planned a camping trip with his mom and his dad and some siblings and his wife,
Yeah.
and they were all going to go camping this week. He first told his mom that he didn't think he could go.
Well, yeah, because if you go anywhere like public, far away, you're in a crowded
Yeah,
setting,
yeah.
we're like, you're going to self-quarantine for a little
Yeah,
bit.
and because he had put in that he
Excuse
just needed the week off for vacation.
Yeah.
So Jeff and Carolyn kind of asked and said, "Hey, where are you going? What are you flying somewhere? Are you
Yeah.
traveling somewhere?" And he's like, "No, we're going camping."
They're driving
And-
to like the coast or something.
Yeah, so-
and they're in their cars, but it's just their family group.
Yeah,
so
and they are camping.
a little
So-
more permissible as far as like
Yeah.
groups go. We probably won't quarantine them for that.
Well, and
but
he said he's going to be safe. He's going to do his best, and
Yeah.
the whole goal is that it's a family vacation. So
Mhm.
wish him luck. Hopefully he doesn't,
he probably can't watch this right now. He's out in the woods somewhere.
Yeah,
so.
that's what we're hoping.
Yeah.
So it's just Dane and I
Mm-hmm.
this week, and needless to say, it's very quiet in the building.
Oh, so quiet
without
When
Anthony and
Anthony's
Morgan
away,
and-
and we're not saying that like it's a great thing. It's
Well,
just
because
it's
he usually
different.
plays music all day.
He's usually playing music or asking like really strange questions.
Random questions
His
like,
favorite.
what kind of taco is your favorite? Or are you a Crunchwrap Supreme kind of guy? Dane, how many Baconators have you ever eaten in one sitting?
Or like, hey, you're stranded on a lone desert road and
Yeah.
you have $5 in your pocket. Like he's that kind of
Yeah,
guy.
he's a
who-
conversation starter.
He really knows how to mix it up. So shout out to Anthony. We miss you already. But don't worry, guys. He'll be back next
Yeah.
week.
All right, Dane, let's go through.
Yeah,
So just so you guys
so-
know, we're going to be just kind of talking about our weekends and stuff, but we figured we'd knock out some of you guys that have been waiting patiently for some of these. We figured we'd throw out some of the questions for everybody. So G. Davis, fingers crossed. I have the whole family watching, so please tell Dane not to be dirty.
I'll do
Thank
my
you.
best.
Do your best, Dane. Seriously. We all know. Gee, you know. It's hard for Dane to, not swear or
Yeah.
talk about his exploits over the weekend.
Really out of control. So
Kia Possessor, I'm going blind, and I did not see it on the TRC website, but I'm not seeing Clarity Cream. That's because we don't have it yet, in case you're
working on
wondering.
it.
And when we get it, it will go on the website. So
Mike Spina
worry.
simply wants to let us know he's here.
we
and
appreciate
good
you, Mike,
morning.
getting there.
We've got car detailing by Pat Inc.
I love Pro Polish doing my wheels. What do you guys love using? Pat, so currently, our biggest thing was we love the Optimum Metal Polish. And for certain, obviously, polished aluminum wheels. But right now we've been testing the PNS metal polish as well as the G-Technic metal polish. And I have to say, I really like the
pretty good
G-Technic
stuff.
stuff. And the PNS metal polish is no slouch. You got to remember we use that for Air Force One and a couple bombers to bring those back, and it works. So.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to round us out here with Carnuba, and then we'll go into our stories about
Yep.
the weekend and stuff, and then we'll just dip into the comments once in a while. Guys, remember, this isn't a full Q&A, so if you're looking
Yeah.
for that, that's what Thursdays
That's
are
right.
for.
We're
But
just going to talk.
we really want you to kind of be interactive, though, and we'll pop in the comments and see what's going on. You let us know what you think of the stories we're telling
Yeah.
here. So, anyway, we got Carnuba Zaya here rounding it out saying, where is everyone going? Do I need to make another emotional post on Facebook?
He's
Crying
just camping.
emoji. He's just camping, man. It's all right. I just wanted to kind of, I deliberately made that thumbnail to spook people with the blacked out silhouettes. It's like, whoop. No, it's all right.
I think it's great. I think it's great. So, let's get into it. Dane, what did you do this weekend? What kind of, hey, G. Davis, I love this. The over-under on the Baconators is 5. Oh. Taking bets already. So.
Oh, man. Well, okay. So, this weekend, things that happened. It was a mixture of things. I received wheels from Koenig/Advanti.
Our friends at Koenig.
Yeah,
Scott.
So shout out Scott, big time. And I got...
As you can see, there are 2 other cars up here with Koenig wheels.
Rocking the Koenigs.
Mamba by Koenig.
Yep.
Some Koenig decograms. And now Dane will have some Advantis.
So
Koenig.
we'll be covering like different brands in the sphere there. That'll be
great.
Cool.
Real nice.
The big thing for that was, in the case of the Koenigs, those are designed more for like tuner cars and stuff. Mm-hmm. And my car is really
and the
hard.
Mambas are like a truck and SUV
they're like
wheel.
truck off-roader stuff.
Yeah.
My car is really hard to find wheels for if you want to keep the stock bolt pattern.
Correct.
That's that 5x108. For those who aren't familiar, it's like a typical kind of Ford, Jaguar, Volvo back when they did the Premier Auto Group thing, and they had Land Rover and all that. They kind of did the same bolt pattern, but problem was it's hard to find wheels that are like wider and stuff because this has like more like Corvette kind of wheel and tire setup when you look at it.
Yeah, the hard part is that the diameter, like they'll make a bolt pattern, but they'll only make a few diameters.
Yeah, you
and
get
only
maybe
a
like
certain number of
14,
widths.
15, 16.
Yeah, only a certain number of widths in the custom wheel game. And so it's kind of the same with the Suburban where it's an 8-lug.
Yeah.
That limited the amount of Mamba offerings that I could choose from because they didn't make a lot of 8-lug wheels.
Right.
So,
but on the upside, you have lots of space in your wheel wells.
True.
I do not.
Yes. I don't have a lot of space. They rub pretty bad.
You filled them out with those tires.
I had to cut the bumper.
Yeah, that's true. But in my case, I mean, I'm going to have to like flare my, inside of the wheel arch, something like that. That may have to be adjusted a little bit.
Maybe roll
eventually.
Yeah.
But no, these wheels will fit as is. So I go slightly wider up front and ever so slightly narrower in the back, which people are like, wait, what? But I think for the sake of having the look and the way I drive it, I'm not tracking this thing. I'm not.
I think it'll look good too.
It's a cruiser, so I'm going from 10.5 down to 10. Oh, on the rears.
and the wheel, as you can see, is on the video. So if you guys are watching, you can see the wheels that Dane picked out.
They're still 20s, just like my stock wheels are, but the pattern I find much more
nice
attractive.
Looking 5-spoke. I think it'll look neat. I think it'll really change the look of the car.
Yeah.
Oh, look, you got it on
line, they call that the Camino.
Okay, for truck.
Ends. Yeah.
Yeah, Spanish for truck.
Yeah, when I saw the pictures online, the cars they had it on, it almost looked so spindly. I was a little worried, like, oh, that's going to show so much my brake. I need to repaint my calipers or something. But actually, in person, it's just right.
So what we need to do next is do a C5 installation video, G-Technic C5.
I think that's probably
on your wheels, having you coat them.
Yeah, I'll do
having you do it. So
you guys know if I'll do it, it must be easy.
Yeah, that way, one that we can show, but also that way you've got, you can say, hey, coated my wheels.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm getting them put on tomorrow, actually.
Oh, shit.
So I'm going to be...
We're going to do it tomorrow then.
Yeah.
We're going to do it today.
I'm going to drop the car off at Les Schwab tomorrow. Okay. And what I did this weekend...
Are you doing Connie's on all 4 corners? Extreme Sport Contacts?
I've got my Sport Contacts going all 4 corners, which... let me tell you, when you get up to the fat tires in the back, that gets
they're
pricey.
Expensive.
That's like over $300 a tire.
Yeah.
So, I'm feeling that one. But at the same time, I'm going to have these for a long time. I love this car so much. I can't see myself I know I said that about the Volvo and the Miata and all that stuff, but like...
Until the transmission goes out or something.
Until something happens. Fingers crossed, knock on wood.
Yeah.
I am hanging out with this car and I'm loving it. The only thing I miss is having a manual transmission. That's the one thing. Well, and when I say that, having a third
You have
pedal,
a manual. It's a little truck.
No. It's
that's an automatic.
Too. Yeah,
oh my gosh,
it's a column shift.
That.
It's just the most basic. Which
sounds like you're gonna have to buy a Miata
to a
again.
Different story, but I'll save that rant for later because I think that's a fun one that we can like interact with the audience about.
All right.
About the difficulty and pain of trying to sell a cheap vehicle that's not entirely perfect. Yeah, that's something I want to go into because boy are people a pain. Anyway. So I did the wheel thing, but as soon as I went to Les Schwab, I got to test fit it because that was the thing I test fitted it here. But in order to get a wheel shop on board, they got to do it themselves. So
Yeah.
I took it over to Les Schwab, and I'm like, okay, it cleared when I did it. But when they first did it, they didn't take the spacer that was stock on the car off. There was a spacer that the previous owner put on there to push out the front wheels. And apparently the stock wheels actually have holes for them. Like the threading can fit into these holes in the back of the stock wheels. I was like, oh, that's good foresight, I guess. But when I took them off, the guys didn't take the spacers off, and they're like, the wheels you got here don't fit on the car because the spacer hits. And I go, yeah, you got to take the spacer off and then put that on there. That's kind of what I'm doing, is the wheel's wider to make up for the difference of the spacer.
Yeah.
So I just need
see
to
you
make sure
parking in a handicap spot. That's nice.
No, I'm
nice
backing
of you
in.
To
I'm doing my
you have a
classic
Jag.
Dane back in. I back in
Park
everywhere.
a Jag in a handicap spot.
So I got in there, and basically they ran it through, and they brought it back, and like, oh, it's not going to fit. And I go, no, take the spacer off, then do it. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they went back and they grabbed the car again. I'm just thinking like, what? Why didn't you think to do this in the first place?
But they were able to get it, though.
But they did it, and they said, okay, that will work for us. That's fine. And we can use your Continental Sports that you have on your front wheels right now, swap them over to that. I'm like, oh, okay. So basically they're going to fit fine. I'm going to make it, they're stretched a little bit more, but only just so, like half an inch more. So I'm going to make that work. But yeah, they'll fit on there.
You're buying 4 new tires or 2?
I'm buying 2. I'm buying the rears.
So you're just putting rears. You're taking your current Connies off the front.
Correct.
Throwing them on.
And then when the time comes, I'll probably put on some like winter tires onto the other set.
Well, you could just find it.
And just fill it out. Because right now, the rear tires on the car, like these ones, they're actually a totally different brand. They're not Contis at all. They're like Sumitomos or something. Yeah. And, they're a little older.
You can find a brand of those and throw them on.
They're not rough, but they're a little harder, compound. They're not the best in winter by any means. That car has way too much power to be going in the winter like that. So I know people are like, oh, why would you drive that in the winter?
You should buy Blizzaks for all 4 corners.
Yeah, right?
Or some Pirelli Scorpions.
I enjoy driving my cars year round. And if they take a little beating, I really do my best to make sure I'm not like puncturing stuff or like ending up in giant scrapes. If there's like heavy ice outside, no, I'm not going to take a low car out there because that'll scratch it up, especially a black one. But if I'm going out there and it's just like a little bit of light snow and it's fresh or something like that, it's fine. I can push through it. Not a big deal.
There's a lot of folks who don't like driving their cars in the wet, period. Yeah. You're not one of those guys.
No, I will drive
You'll
it.
Splish and splash.
I drove Miata top down in the snow. I will drive this happily. Like, I'm that guy. Like, wacky. If I was born in a different, time period or something, I'd probably be like some guy in a little MG zipping around the countryside. Like,
well, you'd have an open, you would have you'd have your goggles on and the aviator hat.
Oh, no, I would have been down with that. The whole 9 yards. So that would be fun. But
ladies, we are motoring.
This is motoring. Chap.
We need to stop and put some petrol in.
Right. Yeah. Everything is petrol then.
No, petroleum distillate.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
There you go.
So after I finished that, I looked on Facebook because I seemed to like in the back of my mind remember that there was like going to be Cars and Coffee or something happening. And I thought, it's Saturday morning. Yeah. I'm curious. I want to just
I'm going to go check out a group of people and stand around them.
Well, see, that's the move is I don't go into the group of people.
Without my mask.
I linger awkwardly
I'm going to touch
outside.
as many people's mouths and fingers with
no.
mine.
I linger outside awkwardly. Hey, it sounds like we're up.
Finally. Jeez, sorry, guys.
It's okay, man. It's just when you're dealing with finicky stuff like this, it can happen. So hopefully you guys can hear us. Leave comments if you can hear. Mike Spina
there
says
we go. We can hear. All right.
All right. That's step in
so
the right direction.
Going back to what we were talking about. So you were talking. We'll go back a few minutes. So you went on the Lowman Loop run.
Yeah, so I was just getting that way. I was trying to catch up with a group that had left quite a while before, and they were already some people were coming back up because you can tell like the kinds
for those
of
of you guys wondering about the Lowman Loop, it's literally what is it about a 2-hour total
like
round
two
trip,
2.5 maybe because
round trip.
You're not taking the same way back.
Right. Yeah. So you actually I'm wearing Highway 55 shirt.
Yeah.
You take 21 to Lowman, Highway 21 to Lowman, and then cut across. It's literally just a cross from 21 to 55.
You hit like a T intersection in Lowman, and then it turns, and you basically like bridge the gap. You're basically making a giant D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
very squiggly D.
Yeah, but you also climb in elevation
Yes.
up to like 6,000 or 7,000 feet, and there's some crazy views
I love that.
on the way where you're
and
like,
that's where I got
holy cow.
good footage
Yeah,
and stuff,
so-
and people coming by.
So really fun, curvy, windy road,
Oh,
mountain road
absolutely.
to be able to do all that kind of stuff
Yeah.
with. So you saw the cars cruising back.
Yeah, so there were several cool cars coming back the other way as I was going down, and I thought, you know what? If I don't catch them, not the end of the world. I don't mind.
Yeah.
It's just fun. It's a nice drive. And once again, I'm trying to, like, you know, kind of burn up inside the exhaust, like get it freed
Well, you
up
want to
a
get
little
it
bit
hot.
more.
Get it hot.
I want to get it nice and
You need
toasty.
to have a long
so
amount of time to get that
this
thing warm.
seemed to make sense as far as ways
Yeah.
to do it. So yeah, did that, and when I got down to Lowman, I decided to go through Lowman and continue a little bit further, and then I
Like
stopped.
towards Stanley.
Yeah, not quite all the way, but I stopped at like a little rest station,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like where some other like touring bikers were stopped and stuff. And just, you know, took a little rest stop. And then once I had finished checking my messages and stuff from there, I was like, okay, because it's been 2 hours, I got to make sure nothing's going on. And then I get up to turn left. And as I'm sitting there waiting to turn left, and I do have a video clip of this, there's this beautiful bright red with white racing stripes first gen Viper GTS that goes right across in front of me on my dash cam. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna chase him. So I just see that and I immediately go, oh, I'm gonna go this way. Go figure. He was already long gone by the time I was able to turn left because I had to wait for like several cars to go by in the lane in front of me because I'm trying to cross over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I figured out he was doing the Lowman loop too. So I just ended up like going the same way. And eventually I caught up to him. But by that point, he was in between like an RV and a couple of things. And I
Yeah.
was like, I know you're going to hit up on an RV at some point on this and go slow. And next thing you know, I was like, oh, wow. I'd never actually done the proper Lowman loop before. I've driven to Crouch. I've done like those other trips to like Banks and things, but only to go like Hot Springs or like go up in a different area.
Yeah.
I'd never driven all the way across it, so I hadn't seen how beautiful and like wide
it's
open
gorgeous.
vistas
Yeah,
you
it's
get.
pretty wild.
Oh, it's so cool.
Especially
I
that
really,
cross between Lowman to Banks.
I love that. Yeah, it looks so cool. That whole drive there was just beautiful to look at. So I enjoyed it anyway.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah.
I think that's one of those things, maybe a bit of the rag company lore, because Anthony does it on his bikes.
Yeah.
You've been doing it on your car. Maybe that's one of those things when we have guests come to the rag
take 'em on
company.
it. It's not
maybe we take
that
them for a
long of a
Lowman
drive.
loop drive just because, you know, it's kind of a cool, it's a really neat drive.
It's so close. It gives you a very good sense of like what's available here in Idaho without going too far out of town.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like you're far out of town.
Yeah. And
but-
especially when you get out in the middle,
Yeah.
like you're just in the woods.
Yeah, but it's beautiful. Like I really, really love that. Just don't go during fire season.
Yeah. That's not so pretty.
But I will say.
So you did that.
Um,
Did you ever catch up
unfortunately,
to this Viper?
Yeah, no, I did. So I didn't talk to him or anything because he drove off. But at the same time, I was like, I wanted to catch him. What I didn't mention along the way, and I'm not going to show video clip of this because unfortunately I did catch it on my dash cam, but going up just past Lucky Peak going up there, I guess a lot of people heard about a motorcycle wreck that happened.
I didn't.
Okay, well, it was bad. 'Cause
Oh.
I drove past it, and there was a body under a sheet, and it was
Oh,
not good.
that's not fun.
Very tragic. Felt super bad for whoever his family is out there. I do feel really bad. It looked like there was a Toyota pickup pulling like a fishing boat or something,
Mm-hmm.
and they were turning to go in. It's kind of at the top of the hill, like the Lucky Peak.
So you go to Barkley Bay?
It's not going
Right
to
on top
Barkley
of the
Bay.
dam?
No,
No?
this is further.
Further
This
up?
is
Okay, the
you know
next
that
one?
really long straight hill you go down when you're heading
Yeah,
to
that's-
Lowman, but it's that first like really high one you get to, and there's like a little country house or whatever
Yes.
on the left side
Yeah.
if you're heading that way. Yeah, well, apparently the truck and trailer were turning there, and the biker, I don't know what direction he was coming from because the bike was on the far side of the truck and trailer.
Oh.
Like further up the hill, but I don't know how the whole thing happened, but the truck was like really mangled up front. So it must have been a pretty hard impact.
Wow.
And I don't know if he wasn't wearing his helmet, but based on the fact that he didn't make it, I suspect that may be a case. And I
Crazy.
know they don't have a helmet law here in Idaho.
Yeah.
But man, anybody who's riding a bike, is it worth it? I don't know.
You should
I
be
just
wearing a
feel-
helmet when you drive your Jag.
Well,
How great would that be? You just wear it everywhere you go?
unlike a motorcycle, my Jag is built like a tank, so I do have that.
It's
but-
subjective. It'd
yeah.
be nice to have one on, be a little bit of safety first.
But sure, yeah. If
You
I
know.
were to take a racing or something, I would look out for my own personal safety. And this isn't a slight against anybody who doesn't want to wear a helmet when they do. It's just think of the other people in your life, and you got to look out for that.
So,
to all my friends who are riders out there, stay safe.
There you go.
Yeah.
So Mike Spina wants to know what your tire sizes are, and then Alkaline says the Giant D was Dane's nickname in college.
Hey. Great Dane, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so as far as tire sizes, I am running, what am I running? I think I got 255s up front and then 285s out back.
20s on all four corners, right?
20s at all four corners.
Yeah, those are big tires.
The rears are 30 profile and the fronts are 35.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, they're kind of rubber band tires, but that's literally how it is from the factory. Like, I guess one fun fact was I think Jaguar in the previous generation, XK and XKR, was one of the first manufacturers to put like 20s on a regular production car, like not some crazy high-end thing, but just like on a regular production car. Those wheels were huge back in the 90s when that was new. Yeah. So, that was something that they kind of specialized in. And, of course, it's like when you got wheels that big, you kind of feel everything, but actually the car's so cushy, it kind of makes up for it. So it's a good balance, and that's why I really like the car. It's a cruiser.
What else did you? So you came back?
So I came back, and then I decided I had seen enough because, frankly, I was a little slightly haunted by the motorcycle thing.
Yeah, you got to see a dead body.
I was like, it's not the greatest feeling.
Racing a Viper and seeing a dead body. It's impressive Saturday morning so
that's
far.
Quite a Saturday. So I decided, I'm good for a little bit. And that's when I decided I'd go home, and I decided to binge Perry Mason.
Yes.
Which I hadn't watched it all. And then I was like, oh, my God, this is great.
Good. So good.
Just really, really got into that. Yeah. And that
we've been watching it. It's
fantastic.
It's our
you're short now.
Yeah. It's our Sunday night action,
Love it.
It's nice.
Love it.
We've been enjoying it.
That has to be one of the prettiest
beautifully
shows.
shot,
like,
right?
Whoever the director of photography is does amazing work. That is a gorgeous looking show.
All the colors are perfect on it.
Amazing.
I really like it too. It's one of those I dig that time period. And I know you like that time period as well. So it's a really
early
neat,
30s, late 20s.
Yeah, so it's really neat. I love seeing all the deco and all the furniture and the clothes and just the background shots. I mean, it's just they did a really, really good job with the production value of the show.
Yeah, no,
and
it really shows.
Wicked interesting. So good.
Apart from
dark,
the aesthetics, the
good.
Story itself is very interesting.
Yeah.
And it's good mystery, good character shifts and stuff. And who doesn't like seeing John Lithgow and things, right?
Yeah, he's good.
He's always great.
So you did that?
Yeah, so I watched that, and then
nice
I dealt with the thing that is always frustrating to me in the process of selling
Putting
my little
your
Mazda
on.
truck.
Oh.
And the endless parade of BS you get. Oh my! Selling a cheap car that is not mechanically perfect because there's problems. And my problem, I'm Mr. Honesty. Like, I will tell you.
Yeah, you tell them stuff they don't need to know.
Because
once I took a left turn and I didn't use my turn signal.
My number one fear.
But it works.
You should appreciate sellers like me because I really never want to create a situation where somebody shows up and go, "What? You didn't mention that. God, I'm going to lowball you now." We're like, I'm leaving. Like, I don't want to create a scenario where somebody is on board and then they just ditch because they found out, look, that's wrong with it.
Mike Spina dropping some tire knowledge for you up there.
If ever winter tires for Pirellis would be 240. Is that 249?
That's the part number.
Oh,
249
gotcha. Okay,
255 at 255 35s. Yeah. And so just so you know, Mike Spina might be needing to hook up some tires for you for the Jaguar.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. So as far as selling that, like if you've ever tried to sell like a cheap vehicle, it attracts a certain crowd.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it does. And you wind up with a whole lot of flakes.
See the way I sell cheap cars, I just tell them. Like when I sold the red truck, sold it for $1,600.
Yeah.
Right? I had it for 18 or best offer. Guy came in, offered me 16. I said, here's the deal. Check engine light just popped on. But I've got the receipt that I just spent $400 fixing that check engine light.
Yeah.
So I don't know why that's on. Also, it's leaking oil.
Yeah.
It's kind of leaking oil on the manifold. Yeah. So it may catch on fire. Just so you know.
Just so you're aware.
$1,600. That's the lowest I'll go. And I take cash.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, yeah, it's cool. Hands me $1,600.
I wish.
And that was it.
I wish I had
And that's
that.
all I had to do. I didn't have to tell him anything else. Truck was clean, smelled good, looked good.
See,
was running.
That is my problem.
When you checked the fluids, everything was good. No worries. I didn't have to tell him anything else.
I could go through my phone right now. I have no fewer than 40 inquiries about my truck. Most of them start with, is this still available? Yes, it is. And I try and be like respectful of people who are going to come get it. So if someone else is like,
right, you
can I come see it? I go, well, I got somebody else coming to check it out at this time. Yep. I don't want somebody to like cut in line unless they're offering me more money, in which case I go back and I tell the other person, this other person's offering more money. I'm not trying to play games here, but this person's offering more, so I'll take them up unless you are willing to make that change. Oh, no, I'm okay. Go ahead. Like, that's fine, but you kind of create more headache for yourself. Like, dealing with cheap car sales is a pain in the butt. But a lot of these people just flake out. It's the weirdest thing. What I've had happen several times now is people will be like, I want to see it tomorrow. I have this much cash. You're going to sell it? And I'm like, okay, great. This is finally my opportunity to finally bring it down. And then they show up the next day and they go, I don't actually have as much cash as I said I did. Do you take payments? Will you take a trade? It's just like, where was all this information yesterday?
No, I always, every comment that you would get is cash only.
Yeah, and I filter through them, and I say it in the ad, but nobody reads the ads.
No, that's why when they ask, I say, it's available cash only.
And I am straight up like, okay, there's a couple gauges that don't light up at night. It's something in the gauge circuitry, the back of the dash. It just needs some bulbs or whatever. And fine, I'm not going to do that, though, because I don't drive it at night. It's not an issue for me, and the gauge still works. It's just doesn't light up at night. And then there's the fact that people are like horrified of head gasket issues, which this truck did when I got it checked, like, oh, it's got a head gasket issue. And we took it to the shop and basically like, oh, that's an expensive fix. But the previous owner had said they put new head gaskets on. They must not have done a very good job. So yeah, that was an issue with the truck. However, I actually ran a head gasket sealer through it and like people roll their eyes or whatever, but it actually solved my oil and coolant mixing problem, which was a whole issue. Yeah. So if it solves that, then it's not a problem anymore, but who knows how long that lasts. And that's the real issue is like, okay, now do I tell people, it's not currently mixing fluid, but if it does, like I know there's a lot of people out there who's like, just sell it, don't say anything. It's like, but for me, I have a hard time with that.
You're too honest.
I'm too honest. But it has no leaks and it has no burning, no smoking, no nothing. It actually runs fine, but it sounds like it's knocking like a little bit. And that's just the issue with the truck is it doesn't sound like it runs perfectly well. It runs like a little rough. The idle's a little bit rough, but when I got it, it was really bad. So when I replaced all the spark plugs, I replaced all the fluids, I flushed the coolant, I did everything you're supposed to do. And it got better. Was it perfect? No, but I run like premium in it to avoid like the knocking and stuff. And it seems to be better, but it still sounds like a little off. So I just didn't want to have a situation where somebody shows up with like, you didn't say, and it's like, I've done everything I can. So I have somebody coming to look at it tonight. I have somebody scheduled for tomorrow if that person doesn't do it, and I have somebody on Thursday. Good. So now, hopefully, what's funny is all these inquiries, not a single person has showed up. All these inquiries. It's nuts. Crazy. So please tell me your horror story. I can't wait to hear.
Tonezor says the last thing I sold on Marketplace, I put in the title, yes, it's available. If you ask, you can't buy it. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's
Mike says he works at Pirelli, and Sydney said she saw the Viper too. They were headed up to Horseshoe Bend.
Okay,
they went shooting.
Excellent.
Dane, can you hand me one of those Diet Pepsis out of that New Air fridge? I think there's only one left. That's one I brought from home. Yeah. Pretty sweet. Bringing my own sodas here.
All right, there we
go.
Thank you. Now, I want to address Bait Addict here, who's asking about Morgan. How do you guys feel about Morgan leaving? I always felt she was disinterested during Q&A. No, actually. She was there, but frankly, she has kind of a shorter attention span.
Yeah,
she's kind of like Anthony
both.
In that regard.
We had to start telling them to stop looking at their phones.
Levi and I are the kind of guys who will listen to podcasts at extended periods of time. We like long, extended conversations.
When we drive down to Vegas and it's Dane and I in the car, we're listening to audiobooks and podcasts. Yeah. And Anthony is usually in the back seat with his headphones on and
he's got a drum machine on his because he's so fidgety. He needs a drum machine on his phone. Like that's just how he's wired. And
Jimmy was asleep.
Morgan is more or less the same way. She needs that stimulus on her phone or something, and that's
when we fly, but that's same thing. Fly. Yeah. You and I watch movies and chill out. Mm-hmm. Anthony will usually have his drum app, or he'll have a game. He'll watch a movie when he gets tired. Yeah. And Morgan would watch TikTok videos the whole flight.
She loves TikTok. Like that's
she could sit and kill 4 hours of TikTok
Yeah.
just sitting on the plane, which I was amazed she
Yeah.
could do that. But she'd paid for the Wi-Fi and all that. But
Yeah. So basically, it's just different strokes for different folks. I mean, really, it's just people are wired differently. Like Levi and I, as far as like for a proper full-length podcast sort of thing, okay, we're probably the people.
And you think about the
you would
last
expect to do
Q&A
this
that
kind
she
of
was
thing.
on, she was very engaged. The last Q&A when Anthony wasn't here, and it was the three of us, she was very engaged, and she's been very engaged in a lot of the podcasts and stuff. It just depends on the day. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on. You know, we do take time out of our day, our work day, to do this. So many of you know the messages still come in, the calls, all that stuff. And so a lot of it is, you know, phone starts blowing up.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this has better be important. And then you find out it's just a bunch of Instagram messages or something where you're like, what in the world's happening?
And this isn't a dig at anybody. It's just when it came to Anthony and Morgan, they are more easily distracted people.
True.
Like things will get their attention off screen or in their phone or whatever it is. That's just how they are. Like me, I go into editing mode when I'm here and I'm on the podcast. I am just invested.
You get 110% Dane
it is
all
there.
the time.
You got it.
Yeah.
So that's just not everybody can do that. And I don't expect everybody to do it, but you still want to give them the opportunity on a Q&A to actually contribute. And it's hard, especially if you're, frankly, surrounded by like us, who we've been around the detailing game so much longer than she has. Like she has a lot of actual experience now, having done a ton of stuff.
Well,
with
and
us
you got to
for
remember,
detailing.
like this,
but it's hard to speak up in this crowd.
Well, and her whole thing was, you know, she found another job.
Yeah.
And
that's
a
just
chance to move and a chance to do all this stuff. And so for her, why not? You're 21 years old. Like, take it. You know, I'm 40 with a house and kids, and, you know, I can't just pick up my roots and bounce. Like, you know, it's a little more difficult where Morgan has everything fits in the back of a pickup and she can roll.
And that's
you know?
just it, too.
If she doesn't do it,
if
she
she
may
were
regret it.
older
you know?
or in one of our positions, she probably wouldn't have done it, but she knows because she's young, this is the time to go do that. Like get out
and your
see
parents
the world and
were very sweet and said, if it doesn't work, you can always come home.
Yeah. So you never know, guys.
Yeah.
Could be back. So definitely you got to look out.
And it's just one of those things. And like we said, we wish her well. So you guys can still stay in tune, stay in touch with her, keep up with her. She's still got her Instagram page. And you got to hopefully be seeing some pretty big things from her in the future, which we're pretty excited about and pretty happy about. So Hans has got to say goodbye and go get a shower, working on some Toyota. Yoshi says, Dane, use one of those free number apps, then delete it after you sell the truck.
That's a good idea.
Alkaline, speaking of Anthony, did the facial hair finally consume him entirely? Has he gone out to join the Sasquatch community? Yes, he's in the Pacific Northwest.
He's squatching it up in the woods.
So we'll see. He's with his mom and his wife for the week.
Could be a little weird.
I'm sure they'll make him shave his face. So
he's like, what? I'm a
however,
mountain
his
man.
mom would probably say that his beard looks nice. And
Your
so then
beard looks nice,
then he
honey.
would keep it. But his wife would probably not like it. So
Not
very
so much.
funny. No, this week
what'd you do?
I worked on Gabe's 4-wheel drive synchro Volkswagen.
I love synchros. That is a cool van.
It was very dirty.
Oh, I bet.
Now, most of you
Got a
guys,
little rust here.
well,
and there.
so Gabe usually his stuff's spotless. His cars,
Gabe is notable for keeping
Gabe is
very impeccable vehicles.
impeccable vehicles. He just sold, what was that, like a 99, 98 4Runner.
98.
98 4Runner Limited with leather and all that. That back seat looked like nobody had ever sat in that leather.
Well, and I knew the previous owner and Gabe who owned it, and both those guys are just
And that thing
the kind
had-
of people who take perfect care of
And it was like
vehicles.
98 and it was like barely 100,000 miles on it.
Yeah. Oh, no, that one was
That thing
probably
was-
one of the best examples of that generation of
Yeah.
4Runner you will find anywhere.
Yeah, and he sold it for like 14,000.
And then he's got another 4Runner.
Well, and he's
like,
got an 86 4Runner.
that is a literal,
for
like,
84 with
bring a trailer special.
28,000 miles.
It might be the lowest mile of its kind in existence.
Yeah. And you can watch that on one of our Wash Wednesdays.
Yeah, we did a Wash Wednesday with
on that low mileage 4Runner. And then he's got an old Tacoma pickup.
Or pre-Tacoma.
Pre-Tacoma
in this case. It was
Toyota
just
pickup.
Toyota pickup.
Toyota extended cab. Again, crazy nice.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a full-on 90s time capsule.
Super 90s graphics on the side.
And then he's got he's got a brand new Tacoma like you. The blue Tacoma's his. But the point is, all of Gabe's vehicles are immaculate. Mm-hmm. You know, he keeps them spotless, has no problem, like all this stuff. And then he bought this Synchro.
Yeah.
He's had it for 2-3 years now. Brought it to me because he's thinking about selling it.
Well, I think it was partly his soon-to-be wife's idea.
Soon-to-be wife's vehicle.
And frankly, I think she had good taste because Vanagons are awesome. The only problem is the engine is very weak.
Yeah. So, well, they bought this because she wanted to do some camping with it. It's a totally bone stock style one. So there is no camping, no Westfalia additional stuff on it. Yeah. But still a good rig to be able to put everything in.
Those are worth their weight in gold already.
And then a Synchro. So really neat, rare vehicle. However, since he's owned it for these 3 years or so, it has never been cleaned.
No.
Not deep cleaned. Let me just say that thing was filthy.
And I believe it.
And for Gabe, surprisingly filthy. Now, not bad. No garbage and stuff inside. Just a lot of like old dirt.
Filmy buildup of
filmy
stuff.
So I went through, I bought a box of B grades of 300 365s.
Yeah.
I went through 15 yellow 300s.
Woof.
10 of which were on the headliner.
Dang, dude.
The others were on the floor and the side panels, which is all vinyl.
Yeah.
So it wasn't bad, and rubber floors, but this thing was filthy. So anyway, glass had like a weird glue on it. Got it all clean.
That's a Volkswagen thing.
Yeah, it was very strange. It was very sticky.
How was the headliner in that, by the way?
Headliner was a white headliner, but it was brown. So I cleaned it, got it pretty white again, but it cleaned up. That was the nice thing. It cleaned up really well.
Did the adhesive take okay too? Because I know those are
no, it was fine. For all intents and purposes, this thing is a really nice rig, short of the amount of rust in it. Also, but it's one of those that he wants to put up for sale because he wants to get he wants to get a camper, and that's going to be really neat because I think he can get some good money out of it because a lot of guys are buying these things. There's a lot of restoration companies that are buying them, converting them into Westfalias, but doing a full like icon style restoration of them.
You can fit.
Then putting all the new camping gear in and then
Overlander
selling them
style.
for $150,000.
You can slip.
They're taking the motors out, putting
a Subaru
Impreza,
SVX flat 6 into these things.
The
EG33.
They can also just do the 2.5 Impreza engine in them.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. They're putting Impreza engines in them, and then they're doing the Westfalia stuff. They're cutting the roofs. They're putting the pop tops.
Yeah.
They got these $150,000 Volkswagen 1990 Synchros.
That's because overlanding is the hot thing right now.
So anyway, point is,
safari building
so that's
cars.
what I worked on this weekend, was getting that Synchro cleaned up.
Yeah.
The other thing is my dad didn't give it to us, but gave us a tent trailer. So my parents bought a tent trailer a couple years. This is a video of it. I got it all opened up the other day. I've been working on cleaning it. So this thing's been sealed up all year. No one's been using it. But my dad bought this with his brother-in-law, and so I've still got a slide out there I need to push out, but and it's kind of smelly. So as you can see, I threw some trees in there.
Lovely.
In my style coconut and peach mingled together. So I get a coconut air freshener and a peach air freshener, and I put them in. That's what all my vehicles smell like.
Nice.
So. But I've been cleaning it. So basically, my dad bought this tent trailer, and I grew up with a tent trailer as a kid. Then we moved on to a standard pull 22-foot Holiday Rambler. Then he got rid of that, didn't have a trailer for a while, then bought this tent trailer with his brother-in-law. They went halvesies in on it and thought, hey, we'll just take turns using it. My dad used it for a couple years and then bought his motorhome. He now has a 40-foot motorhome because he's retired, and why not?
Yeah, that's a little extra space, 40 foot.
Yeah, so him and my stepmom use that motorhome. Well, when they started using the motorhome that they bought 3 years ago, stopped using the tent trailer.
Okay.
So then my dad said, hey, if you guys ever want to borrow it, just go borrow it. Well, my wife and I, it wasn't one of those things that was like, we'll see. We didn't have anything we could really tow it with, you know. At the time, I had just the sedans, so I didn't worry about it. Then my dad's brother-in-law so my stepmom's brother. Basically, they moved, him and his wife. So Jeff and Michelle moved, and they asked my dad, do you want to buy us out of the tent trailer? Buy out our share?
Sure.
My dad said, sure. Bought him out, took it, had it fixed up, like the seals were starting to break. There was a couple things wrong with it, had all that fixed up.
Yeah.
And then closed it all up last year, called me and my brother-in-law and said, hey, bought the tent trailer. It's now ours outright. Basically, I'm giving it to you guys, to me and my sister's families, right? You guys use it whenever you want.
Nice.
Just let me know. Here we go, and take it. Neither of us have touched it in a year, right? So I feel bad.
Yeah.
But you got to look at it from the standpoint of it hasn't technically been cleaned. It's been closed for a year. So when my dad said, hey, you can borrow the tent trailer if you want, I've always had in the back of my mind, but I also look at it and go like, there's going to be about 2 weeks worth of work to get it ready to go camping. And as you guys know, we went on the last camping trip with my kids. My wife and I did not sleep. The dog, the kids, everybody was just up doing stuff, right? So we're in our tent, and it was just, my wife said, I like everything about camping but sleeping. So that kind of got my wheels turning, and my wife was like, we need to do more camping because our goal this year with us not traveling. Hey, all right, we're back. So,
again.
Apologies, everybody. We don't know what's going on with the internet. It might be the weather today.
It's
Who knows?
so weird. I honestly couldn't tell you why because we did all our prep and everything, and
everything
was
was
working fine.
So
it's just when you go live, stuff
So
happens.
where we were last words, thank you, Alkaline, for posting that. Last words was us not traveling. So basically saying we take advantage of the camping while we're not traveling. We should be doing this kind of stuff. And you were talking about wanting to get yourself a little bed for the back of your Tacoma, maybe a truck bed tent.
I've got an air mattress.
Something.
I just need to have like an actual truck bed tent.
There you go.
Yeah.
So basically picked up this tent trailer, went over to my dad's, brought it home, and then gave it a wash, pressure washed it because it was kind of, I probably needed to scrub the top a little better. It still had some black on it on that old fiberglass, but you could tell it hadn't been really washed. My dad had tried to wash it. Wasn't bad.
The issue you run into with a tent trailer over other kinds of trailers is just stuff gets in there.
Yeah.
Much more than it would on an enclosed trailer, like a fully sealed one. You get like mildew and mold and stuff you got to look out for. So it's just comes with the territory of being.
So in the video you guys saw, like I have it, that was from this morning. I have it all opened up. So first thing I did was wash the outside. Then I parked it on the side yard of my house in my RV parking. It was very nice to have.
Luxurious.
Yes, quite luxurious. Then cranked it up, opened it up, and pushed the slide outs out, set the supports. It's missing one jack for the stabilizer jack on the ground.
So it needs that.
So I need to add one of those, and I have that. My dad put that in. I need to add, we need to put a new battery in it.
Okay, that's not too hard.
And I've got a battery box and all that stuff, so I just need to mount that and then get that battery box mounted, then drill a hole for the wiring and all that stuff. So we can have electricity. And then it needs a propane tank, which is fine because I have extra propane tanks in my house. So then it'll be ready. And we're not camping until the 7th of August. So I've got a couple weeks to get all this stuff done. But here's the deal. As a detailer, I know I can get that thing clean, and I know I can get that thing smelling nice.
Which is important.
Right?
For the kids and your wife, if you're going to be spending time in it, they don't want to smell the funk.
Right. So my wife, however, I say she has a wolf nose. It got stronger when she was pregnant with the kids. And then, but she's always had, if you've ever had that thing where there's a smell that you do not like, and there's a smell that you always love that is a memory for the rest of your life, right?
And you combine the two and get really confused.
Right. So for me, you guys can put this down. This is kind of funny, right? So for me, my favorite smell in the entire world is a new refrigerator.
Interesting.
Brand new fridge or freezer. And I think it's just the adhesive from the tape
Yeah.
When they tape the things together. So
I know, like
when we've picked up these 2 new air fridges, first thing I've done is open them up and take a deep breath.
Before it has a chance to like turn on and cool off, you just want to just smell how it sits.
Yes.
Fresh from the factory, like how it is.
I like that smell. That's the weird thing.
So
right?
what memory is that tied to?
My dad would take us house shopping, and we'd go check out mobile homes back in the day.
Yeah.
And you go look at double wides down Chinden, and you would walk in and open the fridges, and you could smell them because they weren't on; they were just brand new fridges. And I'd go, that smell is like spending a Saturday with my dad and my sisters, just checking stuff out. It was just something to do to kill time.
Yeah, intrinsically linked to memory. That's how smell functions.
Or we go to do the parade of homes. And that was what I do is walk in and do that. So. Yeah. Point is, like, that was my smell. Well, my wife, her opposite smell, the one she hates, absolutely cannot stand, is a camping trailer. What? Just the smell.
There's a lot of smells.
There is a lot of smells.
How do you pinpoint which one it is?
Exactly. There's fabric.
That seems unfairly
There's
broad.
canvas. There's rubber. There's smoke. There's a lot of different smells, right? But for her, it's always been a camp trailer. And she said that. She's like, I don't like the smell of a camp trailer. And That's going to
make it a little difficult.
Right. But we've gone to like the RV show. She has no problem walking into a new RV and smelling that. But like we went into my parents' RV and she was like, oh, I smell it. And I'm like, I don't know what that smell is.
The musk.
So that's my challenge. So I have opened up. Now this tent trailer is probably from the late 90s.
It looks like it. It fits that style.
It's probably late 90s, early 2000s. It's been sealed up for a year, and I got in it last night and started cleaning.
Yeah.
I used my Tornador gun. I used my vacuum. I used Express Interior Cleaner, and I opened everything up. I scrubbed the tops of each bed, like the vinyl, and then all the canvas on the outside as well as the screens. Then I make my way inside, scrubbed all the canvas. I've got one bed in the middle of the vehicle done, in the middle of the trailer done, and the inside of the screens. So all that's been cleaned, blown out, and vacuumed.
Because the number one place I would look is the mattresses that they use, like the fabrics on them.
So the mattresses,
the not vinyl parts, the parts that can actually let stuff seep
in. So one
in.
side's vinyl, the other side's fabric.
Okay, so it's
of the mattresses.
Because those mattresses are like what, like 3 inches thick. Yeah. They're not very thick.
No,
but they're like when you go to like a rec center and they have like the pads for like people doing taekwondo.
Right.
Stuff.
So that's going to be my plan for this weekend. Is I'm going to pull all the pads out and get those cleaned. I'm going to try and shampoo them and clean them as best I can and let them sit in the sun.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hopefully use the UV from the sun to help break down some of that scent. But I will tell you, from my perspective, it smelled a lot better when I went out there this morning and took that video. You could smell the air fresheners, and it didn't smell like the air fresheners were masking anything.
Sure.
So my next goal is to finish doing the other bed area. I got to get that all blown out and cleaned up. Then I want to pull the pads. I want to clean those pads. If I can, unzip those cushions, pull the covers off,
in there's
and wash everything, throw them in the washing machine. That'll make a big difference, is what I'm hoping. If not, then I'm going to go old school. I'm going to wash them, scrub them, blow them out with compressed air and vacuum them. And then I'm going to use like some Febreze or something on all those parts and get that as clean as I possibly can so that everything's pretty clean.
Yeah, the desperate final measure is just to strategically replace the ones that are like the real problem areas, if you can tell. Like, okay, I'll replace this particular mattress and just put a new one in there, and that usually solves it. The problem, once again, with a tent trailer, or tents in general, is just the fabric. It attracts, like, let's say, like a morning, they tend to be kind of dewy, you get a lot of moisture. That stuff just builds in, and over time, it becomes harder and harder to get rid of. So you're trying to fight off.
And then all the parts that I've cleaned, I've re-waterproofed with Color Lock's waterproofer.
Okay, yeah.
So I've been using some of the Color Lock waterproofer. So I'm hoping that the waterproofer then masks some of the scent as well by encapsulating it inside its waterproofing products.
So hopefully it keeps the water out better than my jacket in Scotland did.
True. That was not hydrophobic at all.
I thought it was going to be hydrophobic.
That was the opposite. Then the last part of the challenge is my wife said, we don't need to take the tent trailer. We could just take our tent again. I was like, no, because we're not going to sleep. Like, I want to be able to sleep.
Yeah.
And I think if we do this right, I can plan a night where I can sleep in the trailer with the kids. They can get used to it. If the trailer's open and it's out, the excitement, the adrenaline wears off when they're camping because it's just, we're going to sleep in the trailer. It becomes home.
Yeah, it's
right?
spacious enough. You should be able to start to feel comfortable.
This has a slide out too, a side slide out. So the whole seating area slides out too.
The little kind of
like a little
dining area slides out. Yeah,
so pretty cool.
That was like what our last one we towed with the Suburban was like. That was great. Love that trailer.
Yeah, so I've still got to, so once I get that done, then I'm going to collapse everything, move the trailer out into the driveway, put out the slide out, clean that area, and then I should be fully cleaned. I can do like an overnight with the kids in it. And then once it's fully cleaned and fully aired out, this will give me about 10 days of being fully aired.
Yeah.
Then my goal is to bring my wife in.
Okay.
Have her smell it, have her give the seal of approval. If she chooses, you did a great job. Awesome. Then perfect. We'll go from there. If she's like, it's kind of, it's not.
Yeah, you really got to play your cards right because that first last impression is really key. If you do it and it's like on the fence, but it's not quite there,
right?
It might be a full
write-off. Now, and this is also a challenge that I know I can do.
I know you can do.
And
you can absolutely do.
My ace up my sleeve.
Yeah.
Borrow Anthony's ozone generator.
That would be a very good move.
Next week when he comes back, I'm going to run that in there.
The thing will naturally ventilate itself to a degree.
Yeah, I want to ventilate it as much as I can, clean, and make sure it's clean. Because as we all know, all those scents get trapped in fabric. And so if you can clean that fabric as well as you possibly can, do everything to wash and clean that out, the scent doesn't return.
Once again, that's why you run into this stuff in tent trailers, but you don't run into it in those slide-in campers or the big hard shell trailers.
Well, and that's also, I'm going to grab some PNS, some Terminator as well to break up any extra stuff, and maybe some finisher to just touch up some spots. But that's my goal. So that's kind of, I got home last night. I was just consumed by this last night, and I came home from work, and I literally just went out there, and it was hot. It was like almost 100 yesterday, and I was outside in that tent trailer cleaning and sweating, and there was no breeze, no fan, there's no AC in that thing, and so it was just, I got hot, needless to say. So when I got done, I took a shower and then chilled out, but it was, I'm excited to see the progress, and I will keep you guys abreast to that knowledge as we go. If you guys have any ideas, my other plan is I want to blue bead maker for the trailer interior. There you go, man. What I'm gonna do is take the let's plug in air fresheners.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pull the trailer around, plug it into the house. Electricity, and then run it that way too, just to kind of help, give a little steroid action, a little boost to the
and if you
scent.
Can win them over on this trailer and kind of build on that, maybe that does become something you eventually roll
This is
into.
something we can do. We can camp in this thing till November if we want to.
Panels,
it's got a furnace. It's got a lot of stuff. So we could do some camping, well into before SEMA.
Yeah.
Be able to do some stuff. And that's kind of what I told my wife was like, with camping, we only have tent camping with the kids. We only have a month, really, 2 months left before it starts to get unbearable. Yeah. But we could go sleep in our trailer with a heater and go farther if we wanted to, or do a couple days instead of one night, you know? So that's kind of what we're looking at. My goal is that hopefully if I do play my cards right this year, I may be able to use it more next year.
No, so that's a good idea.
And honestly, my brother-in-law hasn't even...
Hey, we're live.
We're back.
Watching videos on Levi's phone. Guys, just wanted to say thanks again so much for watching and listening. We apologize for any of the technical difficulties. It's been weird. The machine just recently had some refresh stuff that went through, and you know how it
happens.
It happens.
Basically, and in our story... My brother-in-law hasn't even really taken an interest in the trailer. So my guess is, and my dad said, you got that perfect spot on the side of your house if you want to park it there.
Just keep it.
I think that's where it's going to go. So my goal is that hopefully I can win my wife over. We've got a new amenity at the MOS HQ.
It sounds like you got yourself a mother-in-law apartment now.
Man, it's going to be sweet. So any of you that wish to come stay, now that is a extra offering. Is we have an outdoor pavilion basically.
You don't even need to get the
yeah.
Airbnb down the street.
Nope.
Just go
Just
right
stay
into
in my
Levi's
trailer.
driveway.
Yep. So great things ahead for the MOSHQ, and hopefully everybody enjoys it. But yeah, Dane, guys, we're done. It's been it's over an hour.
Yep.
We're finished. Like Dane said, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you tell your friends, please. Get more people addicted to this podcast.
That's all we want.
Yeah.
We just want to talk with you, have some fun conversation.
We're just hanging out, telling stories.
It's hanging out.
Yeah.
And we like having you in on it so you can kind of like see it in real time. That's fun too.
Yeah.
But any rate, guys, we really appreciate you being here. And until next time, this is us saying adios.
See ya.